The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to our Hidden Treasure Moments podcast. Our podcast, well, let me tell you who I am. My name is Kara Adams, and this podcast is all about giving a voice to everyday people doing extraordinary things and living in extraordinary times. I find so often that, we highlight craziness. Like we highlight, I have to say it, we're highlighting R. Kelly, who is absolutely out of his mind. But we don't spend that same time highlighting amazing people who are doing amazing things in our community. So that's what Hidden Treasure Moments podcast is all about. It's giving a voice to amazing people who are doing things to actually help improve our community and improve the people who are in it. Today, I am so pleased, and it is my pleasure to have my guest, Arnedra Jordan. Did I say your name right?
Yes.
Okay.
You said it correctly.
Who is doing so many things. She is like a super smart, sexy chick. Like, I am so excited. She is a PhD. She's going to tell you all about that. Yes. She's probably saying I'm putting a 2 on a 10, but you know that's what I do. She is a professor. She is a mom. She is doing huge things with Susan G. Komen, our LA chapter. So I am so excited to have my guest today, Arnedra, and she's going to kind of tell us a little more about herself and shine a light on what's happening.
So once again, my name is Arnedra Jordan, and I am the community resource advocate for the Susan G. Komen Foundation Circle of Promise Initiative. So
that was a really long
Yes. So what happens is that African American women were dying more at a higher rate. Mm-hmm. Even though we're less likely to be diagnosed with breast cancer, we die at a higher rate of breast cancer. So Susan G. Komen, at the time, it was Orange County and LA County together, came up with this initiative called the African American Initiative.
Oh.
And then we moved on in the state of California. Everyone in the state ended up getting a Anthem Blue Cross sponsored us, and we got a and so what ended up happening was the state of California came up with the Circle of Promise Initiative. So It moved from the African American Initiative to the Circle of Promise Initiative.
Okay, but we kind of started that here in Orange County in LA.
Right.
We
started
cool.
it. We are the founders of it. That's right. We're going to own that. Hey, we're going to own that. That we started it.
Yes.
We're the legends. Yes.
And so Circle of Promise, I know I was introduced to Circle of Promise about 6 months into my remission. Uh-huh. And I was introduced in the Inland Empire. And I was just taken aback by the numbers of mortality rates for African American women, right, and how it just completely was different than any other race.
Right.
And like, is there a thought process behind why that is?
So my thought process is that we take care of ourselves last. So that's why we're diagnosed last,
just
which you're talking about. Right. So, and like you said earlier, mm-hmm, that sometimes we get cheerleaded on, mm-hmm, when we take care of ourselves last. But we have to put ourselves first, because other people end up suffering when we put ourselves last. But if we put ourselves first, then our children won't suffer. It's sad when you see someone who's 32 years old who has 3 kids and they're passing away from breast cancer because it metastasized. Mm-hmm. But so I just feel like we should put ourselves first, go to the doctor first, then go hang out with our girlfriends after, and, and make sure that we are talking about breast cancer too, because I know a lot of times we don't talk about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. We don't talk about it. It's a secret.
It's a very dirty secret.
Right.
like one of the things that we talked about before the camera started rolling was that, we're both working moms.
Right.
And like my son is 8, his name is Truly, and your son
is 6 and his name is Mason. And Mason knows everything.
Yes. And now seeing him like grow up, you don't have kind of that traditional 9-to-5 job.
No.
Like, how is it kind of fitting family, fitting, being a mom and fitting in Susan G. Komen and being kind of this health advocate? Like, how does that all work in your life?
So my mother is a big help. My mom is a big help. She takes care of, like right now, today, I scheduled for our neighbor is his sitter. So the sitter to come over and pick him up from my mom who's at my house. Mm-hmm. And then she'll drive him to school and pick him up. And then we're going to take my grandmother out later on for dinner. So that's my fun day today. And to come here and have another meeting with another group later on today. Mm-hmm. But there's some days like we're doing public policy. I've talked Mark into letting me be on the public policy.
Now, who's Mark?
Mark is our wonderful ED, even though I give him the blues. Mm-hmm. He is an amazing boss. I have to tell you, he is like the most amazing boss ever.
Woo, woo, Mark.
So shout out to Mark K. Pilon at LA County Susan G. Komen. And so I talked him into letting me be on the political policy, it's the public policy advocacy. Mm-hmm. So now I'm doing political policies and
this is around breast cancer.
And this is all around breast cancer and breast health. Okay. So I'm taking on that responsibility and I'm doing the Susan G. Komen Foundation. I also work at West LA and I love my students at West LA and I teach shout out to them. I teach political science. So, but it all intertwines because it's all about community and it's all about changing how we look at our community and the health disparities in our communities.
Now, how do you go from political science to breast cancer advocacy? How do those two meet up?
So my master's actually is a master's in public administration with an emphasis in nonprofit. So so they intertwine. So working in the public nonprofit sector actually intertwines with government because you're the NGO of the government.
What's NGO?
Non-governmental organization of the government. And so you help, we're helping the government. We're going to and saying, look, this is the disparities. This is the problem in the community and who to advocate more for than to the government. Right.
Now, I wait till the very end of the show to say my thank yous because I forget.
Right.
So.
Right. It's like, get off. Yes.
It's so when you talked about the people in your circle who've helped you to become a doctor. I know you got 75 pages before it's all done.
Before it's all done. So I'm not a doc. I don't have a PhD yet, but it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
I'm speaking it
we're
into
speaking it.
existence.
Right.
Exactly. But that is so important, I think, as a community of women, of empowered women, that we support each other and that we recognize we can lift each other up. I had never realized until I started doing the podcast, until I started getting on a platform, how much I needed other people
to support you.
To support me.
Right. So I want to tell you a couple of people who supported me. So first, the American Business Women's Association. I'm a member of the Diamonds of South Bay chapter. Mm-hmm. I remember when I first became a member of that organization, about 7 to 8 years ago. I always remember now, forget now. I was working part-time for Komen. I wasn't the consultant on the project yet. I was just working 10 hours a week. And I was working full-time at the school district. And I won't say what school district, but I was working at school district. And these women surrounded me, and I want to say their names. Dee Kirtley.
Please.
Bryna Dombrowski, Pastor Juanita Matthews, Cecily Harris Walters, and Karen Oliver. And shout out to Alice Pitts for introducing me to them. But they were the women who said, oh, well, you want to be, you want to leave your job. You want to do this. This is how you run a meeting. And Joanne Osby, she would be like, Joanne took me, to Sugar Land, Texas, and I went to this conference and I just learned how to become a businesswoman. So, fast forward a year later, I resigned from the school district.
Wow.
And I start consulting as a project as a fellow for Teach for America, and then leave and just consult for Komen full-time, is part-time, and teach at the college. So, but there was also other women along the way, like my old supervisor, Dr. Leticia Bradley, my old supervisor, Jewel Duty Forbes, who told me that I wasn't going to do something. They were like, no, you're not going to say I should. You're going to say you will, and you will. And that's just that was their mind frame and their mindset. So now I'm just like at this point in my life where I can schedule and take Mason to school and pick him up. Not always, but it's nice to be able. And I have a daughter. She's 23, but she's not paying any attention to me. She's doing what she wants to do. Right. She thinks I don't know anything. Yeah. So, but with him, it's kind of nice to be able to pick him up from school. He gets out of school early. So it's just nice to have those women in your life. Yes. Who push you and want to see what you're doing and want to see you happy and, just making sure that you move to the next level, which I don't know what the next level is for me now. Right. There is one. There is one, but I'm trying to figure out what it is. Yeah.
Well, I find that I feel so like, I don't know. I feel like the women in my life, the men in my life, the people who have supported me have just wrapped their arms around me. And like, I have to shout out, so I don't wait till the end. I have to shout out Gigi and Marcy with Creative Solutions, marketing and printing. Like they have just like, it's crazy. Like they,
I was looking at that. I was like, pretty? I want one of those.
I always forget to bring them. I'm going to get you one.
Give me one.
But they do more than just printing. They do more than just promotional items. Like we're working on this big banner that goes back. Oh, yes. And poor Marcy, I got to tell you, Marcy, I love you. Thank you so much. Like she has gone back and forth with me for a week because my art file wasn't big enough. But like when you have people who support
you. And oh my goodness.
It's a mess.
Yes, I know.
But when you have people who support you, who will go the extra mile, that don't just see you as a customer, they see you as a partner. Like that, to me, that is amazing. And so, I'm going to try to do better at working in my supporters and my partners. And I got to say, like, my outfit is fly, right?
I know. And I'm going to get one. Okay. Yes.
So Carla from Deluxe Boutique is dressing me now. Like, ladies and gentlemen, like.
That's too cute.
Isn't it
cute? Right. So I want one. Carla, I need to be dressed.
Thank you, Carla from Deluxe Boutique. You can find her online. But really, if I'm like not joking, like really that to me, that support, like I was telling my husband, Troy, who's also a huge support, that like that is what makes me feel like I can do this.
Right. It's the people who are the cheerleaders on the sideline.
Yes.
Right. Who don't need the recognition. They're not trying to compete against you. They are happy for you when you get there.
Yes.
And then you give them the credit. I'm like, well, and people always say to me, I love how you give the American Business Women's Association the credit. I said, but they worked with me. They worked with me after work. They worked with me before work. They worked with me on weekends. So, it's amazing to have those kind of women around you in your life.
Like, I must say, Jordan, you can't see him, but he's like right there behind me. One of these days he's going to come back here.
Answering all my questions.
He is like our marketing person extraordinaire.
Right. Answering all my questions. I'm like, so what do you do? So why is this? He's like, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. And he will be mad at me if I do not say, please share, please like. Recognize that we are doing this for the greater good. Please join Susan G. Komen LA chapter. Figure out how you can donate.
Volunteer. We need volunteers.
And you know what I find that really surprised me when I was actually going through my fight and I was using Susan G. Komen as a support? Because they provide so many resources in the community, is that a lot of the volunteers, they weren't breast cancer survivors.
No, we recruit. We need anyone who has a heart, who's willing to give and who's willing to hold someone's hand and listen. So you don't have to be a breast cancer survivor. I'm not a breast cancer survivor. You don't have to be a breast cancer survivor to want to advocate for women, because we're not just advocating for breast cancer. We're advocating for women, and we're advocating for women's health. Because if your mom is missing from the picture, your family's going to fall apart.
Yes.
So are if your sister's missing, whoever, your aunt, your grandmother. So we're advocating for women. So it's important that people jump on board and come with us to the Susan G. Komen Foundation and volunteer and just advocate for women as a whole.
Yes. And when we come back, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the More Than Pink Walk.
Right.
And I want to talk about, like, it's transitioned from it used to be a race
to a walk.
To a walk, and what that means and how people can participate, if they can still sign up and register. I want to talk about that. But I also want to talk about breast cancer within men.
Okay.
And in that community, and like, what do they look for? What are their survival rates? Kind of get an idea that it is a woman's issue, but we're also finding more men who are having to live with it and are survivors.
I'll talk about one of our breast cancer men.
Perfect.
Who's wonderful. Yes.
All right. We will be right back. Hello, my name is Kara Adams. I'm the author of Hidden Treasure. I'm a speaker. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a cancer survivor. And what I want to do is invite you to my one-day VIP gym retreat. It's at the beautiful Mission Inn. The retreat will be on May 11th. It is from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. The retreat is for anyone who puts themselves last, because you're putting your family first, you're putting your career first. And what we want to do is to put you first for once. So if you are looking for a day of pampering and to just be treated like the king or queen that you are, please feel free to come and to join us. Find out how to sign up for it if you go to my website, which is www.karaadams.com, and I hope to see you there.
The Monday morning men's group gets together because we're just some brothers hanging out having coffee. And we need a safe space where we can talk and be ourselves.
Hidden Treasure was written for women, but the added bonus for all you men out there is you finally get to know what we are thinking. If you want to live a life you love, if you want your relationships to be stronger, then purchase your copy today. Welcome back to our Hidden Treasure Moments podcast. Today in studio is my beautiful, beautiful guest, Arnedra Jordan. And she's one of the representatives of Susan G. Komen, our LA chapter here. And when we left off, we were talking about that this is a disease that doesn't just affect women, but that it also affects men. And we're going to talk about kind of the walk that's coming up and how you can register. So if you tell us a little bit about kind of what men, what their survival rates are and cancer, breast cancer in men's circles.
So there's a 1 in 100 chance that men will get breast cancer. It's a 1 in 8 for women.
Wow.
So yes, big
1 in 100 for men and 1 in 8 for women.
women.
Okay.
Right. So if you were in a room of 8 women, one of us would be diagnosed with breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a room with 100 men, one of them may be diagnosed with breast cancer.
And now, is it the same for African American women, for Hispanic women? Is it?
So African American women, we do not have a high. So we, out of the 1 to 8, it's the same. It's the 1 to 8 for Latino women. The problem is that for some reason we are diagnosed later, mm-hmm. and at a more aggressive breast cancer. We tend to have more aggressive breast cancers, mm-hmm. and so with where Caucasian women tend to have a less invasive breast cancer. And I don't know why. I don't know why we're more aggressive. Mm-hmm. I just don't know.
Well, one of the things that I always think about now after being a survivor, and Carrie Madrid from the CARE Project, I am going to take this, I'm going to use what you say, and that is that, before breast cancer, that's mm-hmm. when I was surviving. Like, right. I was barely making it through. I was depressed. I wasn't living to my full potential. And like, now that I'm through breast cancer, now that I'm in remission, there's no cancer in my body, I feel like I'm finally living the life I was meant to live. And I wonder with women, because we are put on a pedestal when we give everything, when we give
Right.
everything to someone
everybody.
else, to everybody else, when we put ourselves last,
Right.
you know, when we're doing that. But, you know, what is that saying to our young girls? What is that saying to our young boys when mommy is eating last, and when mommy, you know, is...
Or we're just eating whatever because we're so tired.
Yeah, like I would eat whatever Truly didn't eat,
Right.
because I was like, oh my God. Like,
I'm so tired. So this bag of vinegar chips looks so great. Okay, I just got to go to bed. Right.
Yeah, but if you took the time, and I am a huge advocate of early detection. Early detection saved my life. You know, my oncologist, my surgical oncologist, told Troy when we were in the office, he told him, you just saved your wife's life, because I wouldn't have even gotten tested. I hadn't been screened in 8 years. And the only reason I was screened is because he brought home this awful bootleg movie. I hate bootleg movies, but it was called, and anyone who's listened to this show before, you already know this story, but you know, work with me. But that we had gotten the movie. It's with Drew Barrymore. It's called I Miss You Already. And spoiler alert.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Oh, you have to see it.
Okay.
And
Miss
if
You Already.
anybody knows Drew Barrymore, I would love
really like her.
to give you a hug.
Yes. Yes.
Between you and my husband, that saved my life.
Okay.
But I watched the movie. We watched it, you know, together, and I'm crying through the whole thing.
Okay.
And then by the end, I was like, the best friend dies of breast cancer and
Okay.
leaves behind 2 young children and her husband. And we watched it on Saturday, and Monday I was making an appointment to get a mammogram.
Okay.
And my cancer had grown so fast that by the time like I had come in, was actually diagnosed, Troy and I were going on our on an anniversary trip to Hawaii, and I'm like, can I please still go? And they're like, yes, you're going to need something to remember that's happy. And so and so we went, and by the time I had gotten back, it had already doubled in size. It had grown out
Aggressive.
Very aggressive, had grown out of the borders, or, you know, from the surgery. And so, you know, our doctor was like, your husband just saved your life. And so if I wouldn't have watched that movie, if I wouldn't have finally had something click in my head to go, like early detection, because I was detected in stage 1, type 2, I had a 95% survival rate.
Right.
But that's not, everybody doesn't have that.
That's
when
not
they...
everybody's story.
No. And it doesn't always, like, there was no lump. There was nothing I could have felt. You know, it was super, you know, Black women, we have very dense breasts. And so, you know, I wouldn't have caught it.
But you also had access to healthcare too.
Yes. Talk about that.
So
yes.
sometimes women don't have access to healthcare, or they don't have great healthcare. Mm-hmm. And when I say by great healthcare, providers have to want to take care of their patients. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, you know, and this is not every provider. I have great providers, but when we listen to some women's stories, they tell us, they say, you know, the doctor said, oh, it's just your hormones. Mm-hmm. Oh, the doctor just said, oh, it's not really anything. Oh, we'll just watch it. Someone told me that the doctor said that they had a lump, but the doctor said, we'll just watch it. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we don't have access to great health care. And so that becomes a barrier. Or I also know about people whose health care is not in the same area as them. So maybe they live in one place and they go to the doctor there, but they have to get on the train and go downtown LA to get the mammogram. That will stop you from getting, because you're trying to figure out, especially if you're a mom, you have kids, or you have to go to work, you're trying to figure out, how do I take this train and get all the way downtown versus when there could be a mammography center right in your neighborhood, and you should be able to have access and go locally and not have to travel so far.
Yes. And
right.
I'll even say, like, a step further, you know, my healthcare was Kaiser, and
I have Kaiser.
What, you know, some
Right.
people love them, some people hate them.
Right. But
like,
they've been good to me.
they've been great to me. So, like, Kaiser, shout out. If
Shout
you
out
work
Kaiser.
for Kaiser, good
Right.
job, good job. But, like, what I will say is, even to that next level, I almost think that they empower their physicians. Like,
Right.
my radiologist, I remember her saying, like, I'm laying on the table and she's like, it looks like a cyst. It's not looking like a tumor. It doesn't look like something that would present itself as cancer. She was like, I am 99.9% sure this is not cancer. And I'm probably going to get in trouble, you know, if I have you do the biopsy. But, you know, let's just something in me is saying, let's do it. And she was like, if you don't mind. And I said, like, this is a trip. I was like, girl, no, I'm okay. If you think it's a cyst, it's a cyst.
Right. When you have to be an advocate for yourself and say, I need that biopsy.
Yes.
What if, because you're just looking at a picture.
Yes.
It's not what was it that you said it was? It was a cyst.
Yes.
It's not a cyst. It is cancer. What if? I always go with the what if. So what if, and then what if you weren't in this picture?
Yes.
Talk to me today.
Yeah. See,
Right.
God wanted me here.
Yes. So I'm glad that you were your own advocate. And sometimes we have to speak up for ourselves.
Yes.
When we don't speak up for ourselves, we go, oh, okay, well, they're a doctor. They know more than us. No, they do not.
Yeah.
They do not know more than us about our bodies.
Yeah.
So we have to speak up for ourselves.
And I would say, like, I talk a lot about cancer because that's my world. That's,
right.
What I know, that's what I came from, and that's what helped me to find my purpose. But when you really think about it and you get to the nitty gritty of what we're talking about,
right.
It's really loving yourself enough to put yourself first, to recognize when you need a break, recognize when you need more.
And recognize when you need to eat.
Yes.
And not saying, yesterday is a perfect example of me. I was like, oh, I forgot my lunch. And I've been trying to take my lunch. And I said, oh, I forgot my lunch. And I said, oh, well, I'm going to leave campus at 3. I'll just wait till 3 o'clock to eat. And then I said, no, you have a break at 9:35. But you have to walk all the way across campus to your car. But that's good. Walk across campus and go and get you something to eat. Don't wait till you're leaving campus at 3 o'clock.
Yes, because you're not going to get an award.
No, for sticking around at
Right.
campus if you're dead.
And like, I've had some super smart people in my life, and my doctor, she was all the time. She was so brutal to me, and I talk about it in the book, but she would be like, you're not going to get a prize for working 40 hours at work 20 years from now.
Nope.
Nobody is going to remember.
Nobody's going to remember that
you did that.
Right.
And, truth be told, like, a year later I was fired, so it really didn't matter. Truth be told.
And how much did they value you? Because they fired you anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So why do it? Right.
Exactly. Like, live your best life. Live your best life today. Right. And at some point, I'm going to stop saying purpose because it's so overused. It's just live your best life. Do what you're supposed to do, what God put you on this earth for. Yes. What makes you happy? Like, I do this all the time. I go completely off on a sidetrack, but I'm really into this space right now about things. Things are not what are going to make you happy. Experiences are.
Right. Because I know from experience, I have things and I'm like, why did I buy that? Or why do I even own this? Or what is this? Or what made me think about it? But experiences, as I was telling you about our brunch club, I can tell you so many experiences that I've had with our brunch club that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to all the experiences that I have with Mason, the experience I've had with my daughter, the fun things that we do together, that's what I really need. Yeah. And not the things, because sometimes you don't even have anywhere to put those things.
Right.
And then
especially
it just becomes
when you
clutter. You become
tiny.
a hoarder. Right.
that don't really work out.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree. And so if we go into a little bit, like when you think about experiences, and like, I think that's a great transition into the More Than Pink Walk.
Right.
That's happening. Like,
that's an experience.
It is. And like, okay, what I love about Susan G. Komen walks, because I do a few, like I do the Murrieta one with Susan G. Komen Inland Empire, and then I'm doing the one at the Dodger Stadium on Saturday. And
at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yes. But what I love is that it is such a positive environment. Right. And like, men are there. Like, my favorite thing is to spot the men and what they're wearing.
Pets.
Oh, yeah.
Pets.
Yeah, pets and tutus.
Right, tutus and... Right, women who are breast cancer survivors, women who are not breast cancer survivors, people from all different types of walks of life. It's just a wonderful experience. It's just a wonderful experience for everyone.
Tell us, because I don't think everyone understands, and this, I didn't understand it at all, that each Susan G. Komen, each affiliate raises money for their community.
Right. So at LA County, it's, we have 6 staff members and me as the consultant. And we have to raise the money for the entire county. So we're LA County, and LA County is huge. So each individual affiliate raises the money for their county to put the services that our county may need. And each county is different. We all need different things. In LA County, a lot of people call us that they need to pay their rent because the co-payments are too high.
And so you help with I don't
so
know
we
what I
find
know.
resources for you to
got
pay.
it.
Yes.
Got it.
But our people say, I need help with a diagnostic mammogram. I got my screening mammogram and now I need a diagnostic mammogram. We help with that kind of.
So tell me, anybody who's listening who wants to be a partner of Susan G. Komen, the LA County, and they have resources, how do they hook up with you?
So they can call the office, and anyone in the office can help them. The number to the office is 310-575-3011. If they want to speak
One more time.
310-575-3011.
Okay.
If they want to speak to me specifically, they can punch in 210.
Okay.
But anyone in the office can help them. The office staff is amazing and they're very talented and they know what to do. Or they can go on our website. Maybe they want to review it because they don't believe us. Prior to, they can go on our website, www.lacountycomen.org. Yes.
And now, I remember, I don't know how long ago this was, where Susan G. Komen, had a little bit of a black eye because people didn't think that the funds were going, were being allocated appropriately. But that's not the case.
That's not the case. If you watch, we have a couple initiatives. It's the metastatic. We put a lot of money into metastatic breast cancer. And for those of you who don't understand what metastatic breast cancer
my next question.
Metastatic breast cancer means that your breast cancer has spread from your breast to another part of your body. That's metastatic breast cancer. We put on a metastatic breast cancer conference. We have our Circle of Promise, which is the African American Initiative. We have the Unitas program. We have our Pink Tie Guys, which is the men in our lives who are co-survivors, because we forget about the co-survivors sometimes. We forget about the caregivers that had to take care of the women while they go through breast cancer.
And I just recently heard a stat that the caregivers
burn out,
are dying before the people they're caring for.
Right, because you're burnt out. So now you're taking care of someone ill. You might be paying all the bills. You now have to take care of all the children. And, running people back and forth to the doctor is not an easy task. And so, we have to make sure that we honor the caregivers and thank the caregivers and acknowledge them and do something for them.
Yeah. And that's any walk, whether you're going through a cancer walk, whether you have elderly parents, it's the caregiver that we forget about. Troy talks about that
they
a lot.
should do it.
Right.
That's not we want them to, but they don't have to.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's really good. And then you have in LA, I think you have a male spokesman.
Yes. His name is Kenneth Todd Nelson. He is a millennial with breast cancer.
And so do you know what age he was diagnosed?
I do, but it fails me right now. I want to say 35, 36, but we have to ask him. We have to get him on the show.
Yes.
Kevin Todd Nelson. Yes.
Kevin Todd Nelson.
Yes.
Calling Kevin Todd Nelson.
You're next. Yes, but he's awesome. What I love about him is that he shares his story and he's not afraid to share his story. Because I know some people who do not share their story and, they have
men
breast
and
cancer.
women.
Men and women. Yeah. Or some people who say, we have sworn you. They go over there and want to cut the pinky and pinky swear and swear me to secrecy. But the thing about him is he's sharing his story because he knows that's his platform to help others, because you're saving lives when you share your story.
Yeah.
You're saving someone's life. Someone's listening, even though they might not even talk back or acknowledge or say that, but you're saving someone's life when you're sharing your story.
Yeah. And even with the Hidden Treasure Moments podcast, sometimes I feel oh my God, nobody's gonna want to hear about this all the time. I'm just talking to myself. But really, I think even though I talk about cancer, I think when I was diagnosed, I really, Troy and I had I would say we had the option to do it in secrecy.
Right.
Or we could do it very visibly. And I chose the latter because I don't know why I chose the latter. I didn't know what God had in store for me, but it was that I didn't want to suffer in silence. And I think that there can be a lot of, what's that thing? Like when I always lose words, like when you feel like really negative and bad about yourself, like where people put that like
stigma.
Thank you. I think that for women and
Stigmas.
for high-powered or women in their communities.
And a lot of times we feel like we're going to lose our jobs too, or lose because we are the high power.
Yeah.
Right? And so if we're sick, then we can't be that high power person.
Well, and I would say it goes even deeper. I felt like if I was sick, I was unworthy. Like,
Right.
if I was sick.
Because we are and me and Mother Love talked about this. We are the helpers and not the helpees. We need to be the helpees sometimes.
Yes. But
Right.
like, there's this thing, like, if
You
somebody's
have
helping
to be
me,
a helper.
I'm weak.
Exactly. Exactly. And sometimes we just have to be the helpee. Everybody's going to have to help us. And
Yes.
it's going to be okay.
Well, I would
Right.
say I am the happiest now
Right.
that I have ever been because I don't try to do it all myself. Like,
Yep.
I have very special, very competent, people who are doing the best at what they do, and they're supporting me. And to see that, I would say it doesn't even, like, I can't even express how much that means to my heart to see these people who believe in the cause and in the mission and in the movement, because Hidden Treasure is a movement. Like, it's the ideal that's what we are, that we're these hidden treasures, and that the moments in our lives that should have taken us out, we should actually use them to lift us up and to see that
And
that
to
was a
share the story
treasure.
with someone else.
Yes.
Right.
So they can see that they can do it. They can see that you can have a child who is 6 years old and go through cancer with you, and he can help, and he can feel empowered by your struggle. And so, I say that all to say that no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what's going on in your life, that once you bring other people in, and once you bring it to light, it really allows other people to support you, and it allows other people to witness where you've made it from and what the direction you're going to in your life. And so,
And it gives somebody else hope.
yes,
You want to give people hope.
yes,
Right.
Because there's too much out there,
Too much negativity.
craziness. Like,
Right.
I'm sorry. I was seeing my girl. I was doing my hair yesterday, Kente, and she had on the show R. Kelly losing his damn mind.
So I didn't see it, but I heard about it. And everyone keeps telling me, you didn't watch it? I said, no, I don't watch, by the time I'm like so tired. But they were like, you need to see that show. And I said, but why do we keep putting our energy into that?
Yes.
We should not put our energy into that.
It just made me like, oh my goodness, like, if I could get someone positive to
Right.
talk about how, they're bringing kids up and they're helping kids to become,
Not where somebody standing over you yelling at you. And how do you go to a show and yell at somebody?
Girl, I wish I could have been in the room with Oprah and Gail talking about his crazy ass. Like, that don't make no sense. I'm just saying,
Right.
but yes.
But I saw it on Yahoo.
Okay. Woosah, I'm done with it. Won't say any more about it.
But that's negative energy. We want to bring in positive energy.
Thank you.
Yes,
you.
we want to bring in positive things. And that's what we do at Coleman. We bring the positive part of breast cancer.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Because I will say that, having that group, having that support system has really, given me it. I've been able to see other women survive and thrive and be so much more in the present than maybe they were before.
And it's funny that you said that, because I always think about, I know someone who told me that they had breast cancer. They didn't want me to tell anyone. And I said, well, are you going on chemo? And they said, yeah. I said, so I believe your hair is going to fall out. I didn't tell them it would. I said, I believe your hair is going to fall out.
Most times.
And they said, yeah, and I have to have a mastectomy. And I said, okay, so you're telling me that you want me to keep this a secret, and you're going to come in here with one breast and no hair. And you think I'm the person that's going to tell it. And they were
good.
Right. And so she was like, well,
It's
they said
not funny,
they're going
but
to do
it's funny.
exactly. She said they're going to do automatic reconstruction surgery right then and there. And I said, yes, but what if they can't?
Yeah.
And so she said, well, they'll give me something to feel. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So later on, the same person said, you know what? I'm going to have to say something because my hair is falling out. And people keep saying, well, do you have alopecia? What is? And I said, you should have said something from the get-go.
Yeah.
Because you need to prepare people for that.
Yes.
Yeah. And I said, it's on your own terms. You don't have to talk about it. It's your body. But you should want to prepare your loved ones for it.
Yes.
You should want to prepare yourself, even because you talking about it helps you heal from it. But yeah, it was really funny to me because I was like, so you mean to tell me? I was like, okay.
Nobody put it like that.
Right. We keep it secret. But I think people will know. But
Yeah.
I'm not. It's not for me to say.
Yes.
It's not for me to say. But, you
What you're
keep this a
comfortable
secret.
with.
Right.
Right.
And I think they'll figure it out.
Yes.
And so, eventually, if you're sick and coming to work sick, people are going to figure it out. They're going to figure out something's wrong with you. They might not know it's breast cancer, but they know something's wrong with you.
Yes.
So,
And you
just
have
share it.
protection,
Right.
once you go into HR and once you let them know
Yes.
that you have
And
cancer.
also, you have to think about you may need those same people to help you.
Yes.
So people will become kinder to you
Yeah.
when they find out you're ill. They will become kinder to you. So that person will say, because she worked in customer service, let me take that call for you. You sit down and rest because you've been up for 2 hours. And I said, 9 times out of 10, you're going to find out that people are kinder than what you think they are.
Yes.
And she told me, she said that her job was really supportive. And then she found out that the boss's mom had died from breast cancer. So he was super supportive to her. And she said, but if you hadn't have told me and painted this picture of me going in with no hair and one breast and people going, oh, we already know what you have. She said, I probably would have just sat in silence. And
Yes.
she said it helped her heal better too. And then they gave her like an anniversary party on her year anniversary.
Yeah.
So it worked, but I don't, and to each his own. If you want to keep it a secret, you keep it a secret. But sharing it helps you heal.
And I would say, it's one of those things, I think cancer is very worn.
It's scary.
It's very scary, and you kind of wear it outwardly.
Right.
Because it's very external, because your hair falls out, your eyebrows fall out, you just look different. And I will say that, I had a lot of body image issues, not just going through it, but once I had finished.
The surgeries.
Right. I had scars and have scars everywhere. And it's funny, I don't think I've ever said this before, but I wasn't, I had a double mastectomy. And when you have a double mastectomy, in my case, they removed both my nipples. And so, but I had these, I'm going to be graphic. I had these lines that went across. And so when I looked at myself in the mirror, I felt like I looked like an alien. You know how they have the big head and then they have the slanted eyes. And I was like, okay, well, this could be my new normal. And I told Troy, babe, I'm not going to get nipples. I'm sick of surgeries. I'm sick of being sick. And he was like, okay. And then maybe a day later, if that, we sit down and he says, babe, would you mind getting nipples? That's a crazy conversation to have
with someone, right?
But for your husband,
right,
to have to say it. And that's truly how he feels, in order for him to be able to see me as the well Kara, not the sick Kara anymore.
Right.
And I really took that in, and I thought, oh my goodness, it was another reminder that I wasn't doing this by myself. I wasn't doing it alone. And so I said, okay, babe, I'll go and I'll get nipples. And so I don't have tattoos anywhere on my body, but I got 2 nipple tattoos, and it's the best thing I could have done.
Right.
And what's really crazy is my personality, I do things kind of on the spur of the moment. I feel
So you just woke up one morning and was like, I'm going to do it.
Girl. Okay, so I'm going to tell my nipple story, because I don't think I've told it before. So with work, I think it was the second or third trip that I had, and I was actually going to Austin, Texas. And, Troy and I had talked about it. He travels. He's a racing coach. And so he was out of town, and my parents had my son or something. And so I go to Austin, and I see this girl at the front desk of the hotel that I'm staying at, cute little blonde girl, skinny, long blonde hair. And she has a tattoo of a cross on her wrist. Or somewhere. I think it was on her wrist, if I remember right. And I remember asking her, oh, I love your tattoo. I love how intricate it is. I need nipple tattoos. Do you have someone who you could refer me to? And she was like, yes, I'll be right back. craziest thing ever for me to ask of like.
And she actually had somebody.
She went,
right.
Yes, came back,
Wow.
gave me the number to a nipple tattoo artist in a state that I don't live in. And so she was like, call him. I know he does this. I just don't know if he has the time because, you know, when you're at a work conference, it's like 3
Right.
days. And so I was like, okay. And so I email him and he can't do it, but he's like, I know somebody else who can. And hopefully this is the right name. I think his name was Cameron. I wrote it down somewhere. But so I called this man named Cameron, like little short, you know, white guy, like tattoos
All
everywhere. Like
body, right?
yes, like not like looking like the part, but you know, crazy. And so Cameron is like, you know, I actually tattooed my grandmother's nipples. And it's funny, God brings me people all the time, women who need nipple, like 3D nipples done. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to come see you. And he was like, okay, but I don't work tomorrow. And I'm like, please ask your wife if you can come in. Like, God is telling me that you're the one. Like, I haven't even met this man yet. I'm sitting here begging for him
To tattoo on
to
you.
draw on my nipples. So I'm like, please, please. And he's like, okay, okay. So I come in and like the shop is totally open. Like there might have been like 12 beds and, you know, they just put up those like little
curtains.
Like it's not even a curtain. It's like that the little wood thing that opens up. And so I was like, you know, one of my other friends who has alopecia, she comes with me because she's thinking about getting her eyebrows done because she's completely hairless.
Okay.
So we are a hot mess. Like I'm bald. She got alopecia. Like,
So he was going to tattoo her eyebrows on.
well, he don't know it yet. Oh. We had plans for Cameron.
Poor Cameron.
So I go in and I'm like, Cameron. And so he's like, you know, let me talk to my wife. Let me make sure. He's like, open your shirt up. Let me make sure like I can make it all work. And I'm like, okay, you know, whatever, because I'm invested now.
Right.
And so he was like, okay, you know, long story short, his wife was a beautiful woman and, you know, said, okay. And he was really an artist. Like he looked on moles on my face to get like the dye color done. And I would say if you are even thinking, if you're like on the fence, should I get a 3D tattoo? You know, should I get it through my doctor's office? I would say, you know, do what feels good to you. It was maybe $400 and it made all the difference. Like the pigment, the skin tone, like it looks like a real nipple. And so when I look at myself now, like I don't see Cancer Kara. I see like just Kara. Whole Kara.
Kara who's taking care of herself.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think it spans so much further than just, you know, cancer. It's like, you know, I tell people like, you know, get your nails done. Do things that make you feel good. I'm like, my nails are not.
Right.
You know, it is
Mine's are. Shout out. Shout out to Cammie.
And then look, and your toes are done.
Right.
They can't see your toes, but your toes look good.
Cammie keeps me up. Cammie keeps me up.
Yes.
Yes. Lori's Nail Cottage.
Yes. Yes. And so Lori's Nail Cottage.
Right.
Cottage,
In Lakewood.
In Lakewood. Shout out.
Thank you, Lori.
Yes. But what I will say is that it is so important to accept your body for what it is and how you feel and what you look like today. Like I'm always trying to lose a few pounds because, you know, I got this tight girdle on right now. I could barely breathe.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I'm so much more accepting of myself. Like I recognize like there's things I shouldn't do. Like, you know, I didn't go on.
So don't eat the vinegar chips at 7:00 in the morning is what my friend who's the health fanatic tells me, Carmen.
Oh my God. But you know what's the best.
Right.
Is baked hot Cheetos.
You know, I've never had hot Cheetos. I don't like hot food.
You know, I probably over the last year, like now I love hot food. I order it all the time. I love hot Cheetos and it's like my nemesis, hot Cheetos and ice cream.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, but like I went off of tamoxifen because tamoxifen was making me insane.
Okay.
And like at some point you just gotta make decisions for yourself on how to live your best life. And me on tamoxifen was not it. But, you know, when I just lost what the heck I was talking about. But anyways, I'll talk about something else. But I had to recognize that I needed to do what was best for me. And I needed to do things that supported me moving forward. And one of the things, okay, back on track. One of the things that I have issues with is sugar. Like sugar addiction is real, people.
That's a real addiction. You will start withdrawing from sugar. So you know what my addiction is?
What?
Diet Coke.
Oh, I'm entering into your world.
Right. Diet Coke is my addiction. Everyone, and it's so funny.
Like,
Everyone
do you drink
knows
it in the morning?
I try not to. So this morning I had some green tea, but it just didn't fizz. I was like, oh. I was like, I'm going to drink this green tea because everyone knows it. Like, people will tell me, oh, we got you a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
They know. And I'm like, I'm trying to move away from this. And it's just sitting there calling my name. It's like, Arnedra, come drink me.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Do you do like the Diet Coke with the like vinegar chips?
Don't tell Carmen. Please don't tell Carmen. And so,
You're going
sometimes,
to hell.
right. Carmen is strict about those chips. And I was in the store and I was like, I cannot buy the vinegar chips. So I went over there and got an orange and a banana. She'll be very happy.
Yeah.
Because she's like, no. And she's like, and put the Diet Coke back. So I could hear her in my head. So I got the water and I was like, wow, life is not fun anymore. Life's bland, but I know it's for my health. I know that I have to change my eating habits. I'm one of the people who can admit that they had the worst eating habits, but because of her, because she's always in my ear, and she's always trying to show me how to make something healthy, I'm moving away from that. And I'm really proud of myself because, and when I was in the store last night, I was like, please walk by, don't look at the cakes. If you don't look at them, you won't buy one. Because I'll never forget, I was in Albertsons Market and I bought a cake. And the guy said, whose birthday is it? And I was like, you don't need a birthday to eat cake. And he was like, for this big of a cake you do. And I said, you know what? You're right. And so, not buying the sugar.
Yes.
Sugar is my weakness. And so trying not to, and I tell everybody now, I'm like, I'm trying to give up sugar. So don't eat the cake in front of me. Just let me smell it from the other room. But I'm really trying to give up sugar. So I had a banana this morning and, I didn't have the sugar cereal. I'm just trying to move away from it.
Yes. Well,
trying to live a happier, healthier life.
Aren't we all, girl? So we're going to take a really quick break. And when we come back, I really want to talk about like everything that you've been through, everything that you've seen. Like what advice would you give to young girls, or what advice would you give to women who are transitioning? Maybe they're transitioning from cancer. Maybe they're transitioning workplace.
Okay.
But the things that you have done, you have led we didn't get into it, but
right.
You've had a life, you've lived. And a lot of times I use this segment as like, what would the little you, what would the big you, the you today,
the little you?
Say to the little you, and maybe, someone could get something positive and great out of that.
Okay.
So we'll be right back. Hello, my name is Kara Adams. I'm the author of Hidden Treasure. I'm a speaker. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a cancer survivor. And what I want to do is invite you to my one-day VIP gym retreat. It's at the beautiful Mission Inn. The retreat will be on May 11th. It is from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. The retreat is for anyone who puts themselves last, because you're putting your family first, you're putting your career first. And what we want to do is to put you first for once. So if you are looking for a day of pampering and to just be treated like the king or queen that you are, please feel free to come and to join us. Find out how to sign up for it if you go to my website, which is www.karaadams.com, and I hope to see you there.
The Monday morning men's group gets together because we're just some brothers hanging out having coffee. And we need a safe space where we can talk and be ourselves.
Hidden Treasure was written for women, but the added bonus for all you men out there is you finally get to know what we are thinking. If you want to live a life you love, if you want your relationships to be stronger, then purchase your copy today.
We are here at Hidden Treasure Moments podcast. My beautiful guest today is Arnedra. Yes. I did so good all morning. Jordan. And she is one of the health consultants. Is that the right term?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes. Okay. With Susan G. Komen, our LA County chapter. And she is here, like, we're talking about cancer, but we're also just talking about life. And so when we left off talking about what would the big you, the you today, say to the little you to kind of help you navigate through life how you have.
That it will all work out. and it will work out on your terms. So, you know, things happen to you for a reason. And you're supposed to go where you go. And sometimes we think like, I'm supposed to be president of the United States right now. Well, that wasn't your path. Even though you may want that path, that's not your path, but it'll all work out. So you have to just be consistent with what you want, and you cannot listen to the naysayers. So there are so many naysayers, the people who say no, and people say no for various reasons. They say no because they really think. I'll give you the prime example. I decided to leave the school district. That was it. I had it. I was leaving. And my friend, she's a very good friend to me. She said, "You can't leave. What are you going to do?" And I say, "Well, I'll work out." And my supervisor, Dr. Bradley at the time, was like, "Yeah, you will leave. You will do this." And you'll be hungry enough to get out there and do it.
Yes.
So that's what I did. And I'm looking 6 years later. I'm not looking back. I don't want to go back. I still have the same friends there. So if they want to meet with me, they meet with me after work. While y'all at work full time, I'll sleep in. Yeah. And y'all meet with me after work. And I love them. And we actually have a meeting on the 14th where we're going to enjoy each other's company. But that's the thing, to make sure that you just follow your path. And even when people tell you, oh, you shouldn't do that, or you should go here, you should go there, follow it. And even if you fall down, like Lady Gaga said, you just get back up. It's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get back up. So you just have to keep moving forward. And, you know, and everything's not going to work out the way you want it to. Everything's not going to happen when you want it to.
Right.
But it will all fall into place.
It'll happen the way it should.
Right. And then it will happen the way it should. And you just keep moving forward. And when there's the naysayers, you say thank you.
Yeah.
I always tell people thank you. And I move on. And some of the naysayers, you have to just stop being their friends. There's people I've had to block on Facebook. Okay. And I didn't block you. Right. I didn't block you because I block you for you. I blocked you for me. I don't need to know what you're doing, and you don't need to know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that's why I blocked you. It's not because I'm being mean. It's not because, it's just that we don't need to know what each other's doing. It's just, we need to move on. And, you know, and sometimes, and you don't have to answer the phone. I'm learning not to answer the phone after 8.
Oh.
Yeah, because I answer the phone. Maybe like 12 o'clock. I'll be like, hello. So I'm not answering the phone at 8. And I'm trying not to, even though I'm famous for calling people at 6 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm trying not to call people or accept calls before 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah. So you can kind of have some
time for myself, some time for Mason, some time for Anastasia, you know, and just kind of get myself together in the mornings.
Yes.
Right.
And I would say mine would be ask for what you want.
Right. If you want to ask for it. People say no.
Right.
Big deal.
Right.
Move on.
Exactly.
Go ask somebody else who you know will give it to you.
Eventually,
right.
Somebody will say yes.
Right.
And I think that a lot of the times, like for me asking for like, not sponsorship so much, but for people to believe in my vision,
right,
like has been really, really eye-opening, because, you know, my self-worth was all wrapped around what I could do.
Who believes in me?
Well, it was wrapped around in what I could do for other people.
Right. And who believes in you?
Yes.
Right. And when people, and I always tell people, you have to answer that question. You have to know the people's names, and you have to say their names. Who believes in you? Who's going to push you to that next level? Right.
Absolutely. And like one of the things that I have done, and you know, that everyone knows I have my book, Hidden Treasure. And initially I thought, oh, this book is for women. Like it's for us to like lock arms and
not
recognize that we are a community and we're a group, and that together we're stronger. And what I didn't recognize until you saw the commercial, until I was in a men's group, my husband let me infiltrate once, is that like men need that same encouragement. Right. They need to know that it will all be okay. And that, you know, if you never tell them truly how you feel, if you're never truly honest because you keep all of that internal dialogue inside you, there's no way for you to ever grow. It's no way for you to ever come together and be united as one. And that is what I found out in my book, what men were getting. And so I'm going to do the ask. You can go on Amazon and buy my book. You can go on Kindle.
Buy it today.
Please buy it today. You can go to my website, which is karaadams.com. But, you know, to support the book, my goal, ultimately, whether you buy it and pass it out, you know, my goal is that it is in 1 million hands. And that is, however that is. I don't care if you share it. I don't care if you download it. I don't care what you do with it. The whole point of it is that it's to build our self-esteem. It's to build us as a community. It's to let women know that if you put yourself first, you will be better for everybody else.
Right.
And so, I say that all to say that it was really tough, and it has been tough for me to ask for help, to ask for people to go online and support what I'm doing. And so that's what I'm doing today. Go online, support me. You can find me, on KaraAdams.com. You can find it on Amazon. It's wherever you're looking, it is. So please do that. And I kind of want to wrap up with a little bit more about the pink, more than pink walk. And if you could just tell people where to go, when's the last opportunity for them to register?
We are registering day of.
Okay.
You can come. It's $30.
Where is it?
It's a donation of $30. It's at the LA Dodger Stadium.
Go Dodgers.
Go Dodgers. You can come. We will be there at 5:30 in the morning. You can come and help if you want to help. This is my first year that I'm going to be on stage, so this is going to be interesting. I'm usually in our Circle of Promise tent, but I'm transitioning from tent to stage. So this is going to be really interesting for me. And if you can't make the walk on Saturday because you have other plans, they won't be better plans, but other plans. Then join us at the Susan G. Komen office, or join us for a few of our other events we have. We have a Worship in Pink in August. It was August 10th, where we bring together churches to talk about breast cancer and how they can be ambassadors.
And can they do that other than October?
Yes, please do. Please do. Please don't. Breast cancer is not in October. Please do not just wear me out in October and I'm twiddling my thumbs and fingers in December, besides all the Christmas parties that everyone invites me to.
Yeah.
We also have our Henrietta Lacks Day. We honor Henrietta Lacks August 1st. We have a birthday party for her. We are in the process.
Which is who?
Henrietta Lacks. Henrietta Lacks is HeLa cells. So anytime you get a vaccine, anytime that you went to the doctor and got some kind of medication, you have Henrietta Lacks cells in you. She was an African-American woman who died from ovarian cancer. And we honor her every year for her contributions to cancer and the research field. Buy her book, and you can find out a little more about her, or watch her movie.
Did Oprah produce that?
Yes, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks.
What's up, Oprah?
Yes, hi Oprah. Hi Oprah. We want to be like you. So we can do that. You can do that, or you can. There's some other things that we have. If you contact the office, you can look and see there's other things that's in the making, but they're for everyone. Don't feel like, I'm not African American, I can't come. They are for everyone. We are in the process of space of healing women and bringing women together. So everyone is welcome. We are equal opportunity affiliate. Everyone's welcome to anything we do.
And your thank yous.
So my thank yous go to Mark for letting me act up. Hi, Mark. No, my thank yous go to Mark for always being a very supportive boss to the LA County affiliate. And I just want to give a shout out to my sorority.
Oh, please. Are you going to
Zeta?
Are you going to go to
Zeta Phi Beta? I'm in the Inglewood chapter, Omicron Row. So shout out to them.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, I want to say thank you so much to Arnedra Jordan for coming. I want to thank Susan G. Komen, LA County, for allowing her. Mark, thank you.
Yes, Mark.
And I also, this has been on my heart. Lenore, I don't know if you're watching, but Lenore is one of my biggest fans. She's always on the show. She's always texting me, telling me what a great job I'm doing. So if you are on Facebook watching Lenore, thank you.
Yes. And thank you to you for having me here and for allowing me to come in and do this. Yes,
absolutely.
Thank you.
It brings joy to my heart. I want to thank my husband, Troy Adams, who is the wind beneath my wings all the time. I want to thank Jordan, who I never think, who's down there somewhere. One day you'll see his face. He's doing all our social media. I have to thank the poetess and Felicia Moore, or the Morris Media Studios, which I just jacked that all up. But, being
able behind the scenes.
Yes, for being behind the scenes, for putting it all together. Sometimes you don't recognize what your dream is, what your purpose is, to the extent until you kind of come into contact with amazing people. And Felicia is one of those people. I want to thank my advertisers. I want to thank my sponsors. You know, one of my newest ones is Carla with Deluxe Boutique, and she is outfitting me today. And I'm just so thankful to everyone. I'm thankful to, again, Marcy, and to Gigi with Creative Solutions, marketing and printing. And also my hair, because she did me a fly Kente. Thank you with Kente. I think it's Kente Designs. You see her on Instagram. So thank you. We will be here every week on Thursdays at 10:30 live. So please check us out, like us, and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.